Scott Carlos at Stansberry Research. I'm here at the 2018 Alliance Conference in Las Vegas, and I am here with Eric Wade. He is editor and lead analyst at Stansberry Churchouse. Eric, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Pleasure.
I understand you run the Crypto Capital Trading Advisory.
Yeah, absolutely. Stansberry Churchouse is a little bit different. We're headquartered in Singapore, and as you know, crypto is global, so that's my job.
Yeah. It's, and certainly Asia, if you want to be focused on crypto, that is the place to be.
Yeah, a lot of adoption in Asia, and America's catching up, but definitely a lot of adoption in Asia. Good place to be.
Yeah, and it seems like whenever crypto really gets some legs behind it, it seems like there's definitely much more of a risk-on sentiment going on in Asian markets at the same time, too.
Yeah. Well, I love Asia. To me, is just this perfect spectrum of Singapore pure capitalism on one end, unrestricted, glorious capitalism, and then the other end, right, where there's maybe restrictions. And crypto finds its way towards capitalism, finds its way around any kind of restrictions. So that's why it's such a good match. But entrepreneurialism of Americans, whenever there's any development in crypto, you notice there's almost this tug of war back and forth between the developments between a little bit of Europe, Switzerland, Crypto Valley, and Asia and Americans. It's almost like a yacht race. It's just fantastic to see the development chasing after each other in the three different markets.
And it's amazing, too, the way markets always find the way to become the most efficient they possibly can be.
Absolutely.
They seem to sniff out the winners and the losers pretty quickly.
Yeah, very quickly. Yeah, and crypto's no different.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You definitely have to have some intestinal fortitude.
Yeah, that's true. I think a lot of investors are surprised by the volatility of crypto. I mean, the first time you see your 10% or 20% day, you think, oh, I'm a genius, or oh my God, I got this completely wrong. And it's like, well, crypto moves very fast, very fast. Doesn't necessarily mean something's wrong with it. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the next winner. It's just that the volatility, and it's a 24-hour trading cycle, which a lot of people aren't used to. You go to bed, you wake up, it's a different day, but somebody somewhere has been trading crypto 24 hours a day. So once you get used to that, and you realize that that's par for the course with crypto, then that makes the rest of the investing easier, where you're looking for fundamentals, or who's got the best product, who's got the best customer base, who's developing something that the future will adopt.
You would think that Starbucks would be putting out better comp sales because of crypto trading, but apparently that's not the case. Yeah. So why should investors be looking at cryptocurrencies right now?
Because we've had a lot of development where cryptos are actually getting better at doing what cryptos do, and the prices are down. So typically, investors only get to buy something that's working better as the price is going up, right? But we had this great run up, almost too great of a run up late last year and early January 2018. And crypto prices have just gotten cheaper and cheaper and cheaper throughout the year. But the programs are getting faster. The security is getting better. The privacy, if you're interested in privacy cryptos, is getting stronger, and more adoption. And corporations, we're seeing a lot of smart money like VCs getting involved, a lot of family offices, a lot of institutional money is laying the groundwork to make crypto safe for them. And so cheap prices, but more customers, seems like a great time to be buying in.
Yeah, and it reminds me of a lot of other good investment ideas, just from the sense that you don't want to buy when everybody else is trying to run. You want to get in when everybody else is, like Buffett said, you want to be greedy when people are fearful, and fearful when people are greedy.
Right. And I think what a lot of people don't even realize about crypto, and a lot of times I link crypto and Bitcoin together because Bitcoin is still half of the crypto market. It isn't always, but right now, if you're talking about crypto, half of crypto is Bitcoin. And a lot of people don't even realize, you feel like crypto has had a brutal year, but this year alone, we snuck in a couple of months, a 40% Bitcoin rally. So if that doesn't mean that you can't rally 40% without knowing that means there's people willing to put money into it. Now it's sold off quite a bit, but we're not at are year lows now. Every time Bitcoin tries to sell off, there's investors who step into it. There's people who are seeing the value, and it's bigger and bigger money that's stepping into it. So I think the damage is behind us. I think we're 100 days into the next rally, that if you wait until you're hearing about it on the news, it's too late.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Definitely would agree. Where does the biggest opportunity in cryptocurrencies exist right now?
The biggest opportunity is the mass adoption race. It's something that a lot of people don't quite understand. The crypto industry understands you want to be a platform that everyone can use. And we saw a lot of that with Ethereum last year, and the idea of smart contracts, which people were using smart contracts that didn't even really know. The majority of people didn't know what a smart contract was, but they were using them when they were investing in ICOs, right? We were all excited about new cryptos, new ideas, send off an Ethereum or one Ether to this address, and it gets you participating in an ICO, right? Which is a crypto version of an IPO, a brand new idea. But what they didn't realize was you were using the Ethereum network, send your tokens to this address, and they'll send you back the ICO. That was proving out that the platform worked. There wasn't somebody at a desk somewhere with a ledger writing down your investment. There wasn't a broker at the end of a phone call. It was literally, I send my crypto to this address and it sends me back tokens, was proving that Ethereum and the Ethereum network worked. So where's the biggest opportunity is? What's the next level of platform? What comes next after that? And there's probably 5 or 6 different cryptos that are fighting really hard to be the platform that everybody else attaches themselves to, similarly to what we did with Ethereum in 2017. So if you can do your research, if you can find what platforms are out there that have the best customer base, the best to offer to the next wave of investors that are coming on board, you could probably get your 10 or 20x out of that by being in the right platform when everybody else starts adopting it.
Well, hopefully that's what they're going to turn to you for.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what our research does.
Yeah,
is find it
and I guess
in advance.
One of the big things too is just with financial transactions. That's they're really going to help out with people doing financial. They're going to cut out a lot of the middlemen, and they're going to put margin back in companies' pockets.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's one of the future paths, correct?
One of the things I talked about in today's presentation was that the biggest patent holders in blockchain technology are starting to become the financial companies.
Yep.
Because they know if I can increase security and increase speed and increase my profit margin at the same time, those 3 usually don't go together, right? Usually you have to spend money to increase your security level. You have to spend money to do faster transactions. But if blockchain offers more secure, faster, cheaper transactions, why wouldn't a bank want that? Right?
And when large banks are investing in things like this, there's usually good reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is the biggest misconception that people have about cryptos?
Probably 2 of them that I want to say. One is that the crypto wave is over. And I know there's been a lot of news spent on telling people how bad crypto has been. It's not over. Crypto has rallied so many times this year in itself that I think that the perception that crypto was last year, that it's done, that it's all selling off, is very difficult for people to understand. But the insiders know that that's not the case. Crypto is beginning the 8th rally. I've seen over the course of the last decade, I've seen no less than 12 monster 100% rallies in crypto. Some of them were short enough that I think of more like a bounce than a rally, but we've had 7 sustained long-term 100% or better rallies in crypto, and I think we're 100 days into the 8th one now. It's been kind of sneaky. It hasn't manifested itself, so it's easy to spot yet, but I think we're doing that. The other misconception, I think, about crypto is that you can just buy cryptos based on popularity. And I think there's a lot of cryptos out there that are almost like walking zombies. And that's what crypto capital tries to do, is try to identify which cryptos may be looking good, but are on their last legs. Because it was easy money last year. There's a lot of cryptos that got a lot of funding that aren't going to survive.
One of the things I've always heard with like Bitcoin is that, Bitcoin isn't necessarily the best blockchain technology out there. It's the most recognizable. And sometimes people chase in Bitcoin just because it's the one, sort of what you were talking about, that they recognize the most, so that's the first place they turn with the money. Would you say that's true?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's been a lot of innovation that has improved upon Bitcoin. What Bitcoin does have, though, is sometimes I liken it to an elephant, right? And where the elephant goes, everyone goes, right? But what Bitcoin does have is the biggest network of the most computers hashing it right now, which means if you care about security, Bitcoin it's the hardest to hack, right? So what a lot of businesses are starting to realize is I don't necessarily need instantaneous transactions on the Bitcoin network. And what I mean by that is if I went to the ATM machine and it told me you have to wait 10 minutes to get your money out, I'd say that's a fail, right? I need a faster network than that.
Yeah.
And so if you compared Bitcoin to that, you'd say, Bitcoin, no good. I don't wait 10 minutes to pay for my gas. I don't wait for 10 minutes to get money out of the ATM machine. But there are transactions that we conduct that waiting 10 minutes for the ultimate in security is worthwhile, right? So I think as we start to separate away from, well, what do I need Bitcoin for versus what do I not need it for, Bitcoin's going to find its place, and more corporations are using Bitcoin for those non-instantaneous transactions, which means there's opportunities in faster transactions with the security of Bitcoin, right? If its strength is massive security, the biggest network possible, I might come up with a solution that was fast transactions, Bitcoin level security. There might be an opportunity for somebody in there.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then lastly, what is your single best piece of advice to people thinking about investing in cryptos?
Get started. Do your own research. Do your own research, because there is a lot of talk about cryptos. They're different. Cryptos are different. Sometimes there's not even a corporation that you're investing in. So when people look at it, if you've already been a pretty good investor and you try to analogize crypto to something you're familiar with, it's not real estate, it's not commodities, it's not futures contracts, it's not even CDs. Some of these cryptos, there's not even a corporation behind it. And you have to go into it knowing it's different than anything else you've ever invested in the past. In so much so that I'm dealing with a crypto now that I'm doing my due diligence on, and we talked about in the Alliance meeting, there isn't even a corporation at all. They've got 2 employees, but there's no company paying them.
Yeah.
So if I was to lay out for you all of the reasons not to invest in that crypto, they'd all be true, right? But if you do a little bit more research and realize, hold on, everything that's going in their favor is better than the things that are going against it. And if I was to compare that crypto to a listed stock, I'd say I'd never touch that, right? Because a listed stock, I know I can check off the earnings and the board of directors, and cryptos don't follow that. There's a move towards it, right? A lot of investors would like to see cryptos behave more like companies, but some of them never will, and that doesn't necessarily mean they're bad. So, biggest piece of advice: do your own research and figure out that some of these cryptos truly are run by true believers, right? They're run by the guys and ladies that are trying to build the future, and sometimes building the future can get a little crazy, a little messy, right?
Biotech.
Right, biotech. That's a perfect example. Sometimes
it's a wild ride, but the end result puts you in a place where you really want to
Yeah,
be.
absolutely.
So I thought you hit on two really interesting subjects that a lot of the other speakers touched on too, is that you got to do your own work, you got to be patient, and you got to look to get in when other people don't want to.
Yeah.
And it sounds like crypto fits a bill on all three of those
Crypto
categories.
does. Yeah, the timing is great. We've proved that it can make money because it's done it 12 times before. 12 different rallies of over 100% and sell-offs, but the sell-off is behind us. So I like to tell people it's almost like spring, right? The winter is behind us, and after you've made it through the winter, especially if you've made it through more than one winter, you realize it's gonna get cold, but I'm not gonna freeze to death. And when spring comes and it's time to plant and the flowers start coming up, and I know I'm gonna harvest later, that's the cycle of crypto, is we're now, the winter's behind us, springtime, we're starting to do the planting, and there's gonna be another fall harvest where Bitcoin is going up and everybody's following it.
Plant and prune.
Yeah.
It's a good way to invest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much
for your time. Thank
Certainly.
you.
If you're enjoying these videos, don't forget to press that like button. Comment down below, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, please. And remember to click that bell to be sure you don't miss out on our newest updates. Stay tuned for more updates from our Vegas conference.